Welcome to day 12, Debt Solutions Day of our 12 days of Thrive Budget Adulting Life Hacks free coaching program. And again, I'm your hostess, Natalie Pace. So thanks again for joining me. Okay, so we're going to talk seriously about debt. Now, the first thing, which I've already mentioned multiple times, is that a debt problem, let's exclude college debt because I think that, a lot of us followed the path that we were told to follow and we're in this college debt situation we have to figure out, right? So we got to address that kind of separately. But credit card debt, auto loan debt, all this other stuff, maybe even you bought your house and you're one of those pandemic buyers who really rues the day. There are solutions. You might need to reach out to me on my private coaching program. We've helped a lot of people, especially in real estate, because that's a huge ticket. Now, if you do real estate right, that's great. You stop making the landlord rich. You're going to hopefully buy something you can afford. And again, what you can afford might be bigger if you're thinking about renting out the ADU or renting out a couple of units in the back or having a roommate, right? Um, so that can be a great thing. But when you buy at the top of the market, particularly if it's something you can't afford in a place you don't even want to live, that's an issue. And honestly, the sooner you face up to that and correct it, the better off you'll be. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be, because if there is a problem where everybody decides they don't want to live in Modesto anymore, then it's going to be difficult, right? All of a sudden, there's going to be a glut of homes on the market. The banks are going to become recalcitrant. It's going to be very hard. So, you being ahead of the curve and recognizing what it is you need now and that you want to fix this now, there are solutions that you might not know are available to you. So, again, we kind of specialize in helping people to solve their money problems, including housing, and we've had good success of that with in the past. So, a debt problem at its heart is a budgeting problem. So that's why we talked about fixing our budgets. That's why we talked about 50% to survive and 50% to thrive, because when you get into that zone, you can use your credit cards for the mileage and pay it off every month. If you're not in that zone and you're using credit cards to pay for basic needs, and then you're only paying the minimum and you're getting charged 30%, this I mean, I don't know why that's not considered usury, but it's unbelievable how much the interest rate is on debt, on credit card debt. So that can get out of control very, 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 very fast. Now, one of the things that I really want to share with you is one of the ways that the credit card company makes sure that you're thinking about them instead of you. Give me just one moment because I want to pull this chart up and show you. Okay, so your debt collector who is trying to become your friend is telling you, oh, you're making your payments on time. This is so good for your credit score. And what a lot of people don't realize, that's only like 30% of your credit score, right? So if you are massively in debt and your debt to assets is higher, your debt is higher than you're actually worth, then your credit score is going in the toilet. That's what happens, by the way, when you buy real estate high. And if the value of the real estate drops and your mortgage is here, then you're in real trouble, because not only are you stuck there, nobody can buy it from you, right? Because unless you're going to convince the bank to do a short sale, and then you might have phantom income that you actually have to pay taxes on. So it's a real problem. But the other problem is that your FICO score goes way down, right? Because now your debt to assets ratio is very problematic. That happens with credit card debt too, because as it gets bigger and bigger and it becomes more than your net worth, your credit score is in the toilet, even if you're making your payments on time. And by the way, you might not even be reducing the debt, even if you're making your payments on time. So here is how your FICO score is calculated. 35% is payment history, 30% is the amount you owe. Again, that's pretty much compared to what you're worth as well. Like you can owe a lot of money if you're worth a lot of money, right? If it's a smaller piece, percentage of your assets to debt. And then, of course, the length of credit history, the new credit that you open, and the type of credit that you have. So you need to be aware of the fact that if you are relying on just paying your payments on time, that that could be making the problem worse rather than making it better. So if you are really in a pickle and your credit card debt is way out of control, right? Actually, even if your college debt is way out of control, if it happened to be one of those predatory colleges that lied to you, there may be resources. So let me show you some of the other things that you can do. So basically, once you get in that, start getting calls from the debt collector, you're kind of in a stranglehold, right? And you need to think about playing hardball back because they have become your adversary, even though the credit card collector, the debt collector, is going to try to make you feel like they really are on your side. But basically, they're calling you to make sure you pay them first before anything. And by the way, that's one of the other reasons why we need to be contributing to our own retirement plans so that we're building up our assets. We're earning money while we sleep. But in addition to that, it's protected. Your retirement accounts are protected from financial predators of all kinds. In fact, if you're a business owner, you absolutely need to have your own retirement accounts and max them out because those are the things that, let's say somebody slips and falls and it's above your insurance level and they sue you. They can't take your retirement accounts. And by the way, as those get really big, you can start actually purchasing real estate within the retirement account itself. So there's a lot that you can do to protect your wealth from all kinds of financial predators, including debt collectors, but it has a lot to do with retirement accounts because not only are those tax protected, they're financial predator proof. Now, other resources for you, if you are worth less than your debt, then it is time to think about playing hardball. And how do you do that? Well, you could start by, I've known people that do this by saying, look, I purchased a toaster 2 years ago, and now you're trying to say that I owe you $3,000, right? I may have to declare personal bankruptcy, but which means you would get nothing. So, but I'm willing to give you $750 if you promise to accept that as payment in full. Now, if you do something like that, you have to do everything in writing. It's a good idea to think about doing it with an attorney, and you have to make sure that they don't then sell that debt to a debt collector. So you got to include that in there as well. Then you got to get it signed and everything before you hand over the money. So you could consider playing hardball. Now, some of the agencies that are set up to help you in this regard, one of them is the financial. So a lot of them are going to be through the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, although that's not the only one. But here you have the Bureau of Consumer Protection. That might be a really good place to start. Now, other resources, again, all I did here, so this one is, now look, there may be a point where you have to consider doing the unthinkable. If you owe too much and there's just no hope in sight, then what you might want to consider is declaring bankruptcy. And there's a few different ways to do it. Now, I call it the unthinkable because everybody thinks, oh, you're just a failure if you declare bankruptcy. But let's say Virgin, right? There's been a lot of different things. In fact, Virgin Galactic just had to go through a bankruptcy proceeding. NetJets has gone through restructuring. General Motors has gone through restructuring. The president number 45 went through multiple restructurings, multiple debt bankruptcies. So, it's not the thing that you want to do, and it's certainly not what you're proud of, and it's not the top of the list, but it shouldn't be off the list if you are absolutely underwater and no hope in sight. So there are resources. I'm again encouraging you to look at these government websites that protect consumers and help you, and understand that the FICO score is not going to improve if you make your payments on time if your debt is more than your worth. So you do need to consider that, whether it's that you bought high end real estate and the value dropped too far. Hasn't happened too much yet. The real estate is held up very buoyant, largely because foreclosures are still, all distressed homeowners are still being bailed out by government programs. So there's no foreclosures on the books at this point. But yeah, so that or credit card debt. It's so sad because in, some of the places that I speak, I'm seeing people that are earning, maybe $25,000 a year and their credit card debt is $50,000 already. So again, they got to do a lot. Now, having said that, no matter what it is you're doing, if you're a homeowner with a lot of equity and you decide to tap it to pay off high interest credit cards, or if you're, somebody who is fixing your budget, you got to make sure that you fix the budget, because we have to go back to that fundamental underlying theme that a debt problem is a budgeting problem. So don't just borrow money from your home and pay off the high interest credit card debt and don't fix the budget, because chances are you're just going to build up the debt again, right? Don't decide, okay, I have to declare bankruptcy and then continue life as is, because you're just going to have to use that credit card again to make ends meet, and you're just going to build it up again. So you must adopt a Thrive budget no matter what, and then work on fixing the debt. But understand also that paying yourself first. Debt collectors are not going to take up, some sort of like, let's help out XYZ person because they just, lost their job, or, something worse happened to them. They're not going to do that. The only person that's going to provide for your future is you. So in addition, and if you're just thinking about debt, right? Debt consciousness, not prosperity and abundance consciousness, not plan for my future consciousness, not living a rich life consciousness, and certainly not money while you sleep. So again, you got to face the truth, and you got to use time proven strategies, and you got to make sure that it's a holistic system that addresses the budget. All right, good luck. And I'll see you at nataliepace.com. Hopefully join us for a retreat where you'll learn more about investing. Join us for our Royal Manor House adventure if you'd like to, really learn about sustainability and definitely wealth consciousness and intergenerational wealth and keeping the money in the family, and all these things that I teach are brought together in an adventure and an experience. All right. Thanks again for joining me. Natalie Pace, info at nataliepace.com, YouTube, Natalie Pace, and then social media. The reason I say go to the links is that my middle name is Wynn, and I use Natalie Wynn Pace on, I believe, Facebook and Instagram. So it's going to be hard for you to spell W-Y-N-N-E, although it's not that hard to spell, but it's an unusual name. Thanks. Bye. Good luck. Good design.